Barry is almost a hurricane, and it may have gone over that threshold as it heads towards the Louisiana coastline. Heavy rainfall and storm surge flooding are the main features with this system. I'm Mike Naso from the YouTube Tropical Update page. You can see for July 13th, it's still well away from the heart of hurricane season, but we have obviously our Barry there, which is almost a hurricane. Looks like it could get upgraded in the next hour or so, so don't be surprised if by the time you see this update, this is Hurricane Barry. And we have a tropical wave invest area here, which is showing a little bit more life this morning, and this could potentially develop, although it may get into more unfavorable conditions in a week or so. Now here's the latest on Tropical Storm Barry. Now this was as of 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern, but again, like I said, it looks like if it goes over the top 70, 75 miles an hour, either they're going to call it a hurricane or they're not, but it is definitely a low-end hurricane if it is. 991 millibars, and it was moving northwest at 4 miles an hour, so the slow motion is really what's going to do us in with the rainfall. You could see by Tuesday morning still sitting over northern Arkansas as a tropical depression, a weakening tropical low actually, but it could still have rainfall with that. Again, it looks like landfall, it keeps dragging ever so slightly west. So landfall somewhere along the Louisiana coast is still expected by, I'd say, within 4 or 5 hours by now. There's the visible satellite imagery, and you can see there's a definite swirl that's inland, but it looks like the actual center is still kind of offshore. For a system that may be upgraded to a hurricane, it is very lopsided, and this wet weather here is kind of bubbling. It's not really pushing on shore anytime fast, which is good news and bad news. Good news is it's not raining as hard as we thought right now on the areas of New Orleans. On the east side of Louisiana, however, that could come right back around once the center does eventually move inland. So that threat of heavy rainfall is not over with in the long run at all. You can see it looks like landfall will occur New Iberia, right there in the mid-Louisiana coast, Lafayette, Houma, New Iberia, Morgan City, Intercoastal City. You guys are all going to be drenched with heavy rainfall and some gusty winds over the next couple of hours. There's that rainfall forecast, and this is over the next couple of days. You can see the heaviest amounts, 10 to 15 inches, definitely over the middle and eastern areas of Louisiana, maybe touching into Mississippi, and then as the system continues inland, right there where that line is, it'll be the right side since this is very lopsided. A lot of the wet weather will be on the right side of Barry's circulation as he pushes inland. Here's a radar out of Lake Charles, and if I told you that the center of circulation was actually north of Abbeville moving straight west, you'd probably believe me, but that is not the center of circulation. The center is still technically offshore. Morgan City, Abbeville, New Iberia, as I mentioned before, appear to be where the quote-unquote eye would cross the coast, even though it's far from an eye or even an eye-like feature. To be honest, I thought Barry would get a little more organized than he did. There was a bit more northerly shear than I thought there would be. I thought there would be much more favorable conditions than he had. The waters were certainly warm, but the upper-level winds, not so much. As I mentioned before, New Orleans, you're getting a pretty good shower right now moving into the east side of town, but again, I'm kind of surprised that you've made it as dry as you have been. Even up near Baton Rouge, Jackson, you guys are not as drenched as I thought you would be. However, you can see offshore, there is plenty of wet weather there, and so that is why that flood threat exists, as well as the onshore flow with storm surge flooding. This area is very low, very moist, very marshy, and you'll get easy storm surges even with a strong tropical storm or, like I said, Hurricane Barry as it pushes onshore. So in the final analysis, Barry is, it actually looks like it's weakening on that infrared satellite imagery. The convection not half as strong as it was. You can see there at the end it goes from darks to lights. So not looking all that impressive, and it looks like Recon's measuring higher pressures. So you know what? Maybe it won't be upgraded to a hurricane. We'll have to wait and see. Nevertheless, a rainy and gusty night for the rest of the afternoon into tonight for eastern Louisiana, as well as portions of Mississippi. Texas it looks like you're going to be mostly good. Again, an early to mid-season storm for the middle of July. Tropical Storm Barry bearing down on the Louisiana coast, batten down the hatches. There could be a lot of heavy rain and flooding.